Hello and welcome back to X-Carbovore. What a great day I have planned for us today. We are going to speak a little bit about Losartan, which is my old blood pressure medication. I say old because I'm no longer taking it. We're going to compare that with the effect of Carnivore. So, if you're with me, hang in there. I'll see you on the other side. Hello and welcome back to X-Carbovore. My name is Kian Anyan, and this is day 3 of the 180-day Carnivore Kipp challenge. If you haven't begun joining us yet, please take an opportunity to study the carnivore diet and join in. There's always room for more. There's always room for more. Listen, we're having a great time, and the more the merrier. The greater the atmosphere, the more likely we're going to achieve our dreams. And listen, our dreams, mine isn't first weight, mine is medical. And one of my biggest medical issues have been my blood pressure. I've had high blood pressure for more than a decade, I guess probably longer than that. And for many of those years, it's gone untreated. I believe I started taking medication sometime in 2014, maybe before, maybe a little bit before then. And it wasn't nice for me. No one wants to take pills all of their lives, least of all me. I'm in the medical profession, was and still am, but part of my history of understanding medicine is eventually, the older you get, you start taking medicine for the medication that you're already taking. So some of the side effects that happen because of certain medicines, you can find yourself in this perpetuating cycle that one pill turns into 14 to 20. And that's something I didn't want to see happen to me. So and this is only one of my issues, I have many, but today we're going to talk about my blood pressure and why and how carnivore is helping. So why and how? So I'd like to speak to you about the basic effect of Losartan. Now, every blood pressure medication has a different approach to affecting our blood pressure. Some of them block calcium channels, or in this case, I have an angio-2 or angiostensin 2 type 1 channel that's being blocked. And what I mean by that is the Losartan attaches to those receptors so that the AT1 or the angiostensin 2 cannot attach. And what that does, if it does attach, it causes my vessels to constrict. And when the vessels constrict, the heart has to pump harder to get the blood through my body, which gives me high blood pressure. So what Losartan does, it attaches to those receptors, and in essence, it stops the constriction. It keeps my blood vessels loose, okay? And that's great if you don't mind taking pills. But what if we can find a different way to do the same thing? What if we can find a magic formula called food that can change the whole situation that we're doing? I mean, many of our illnesses throughout life, not just blood pressure, but type 2 diabetes. Let's not even talk about obesity, but there are millions, 50 plus ailments that I know of that are caused strictly because of the way we eat. Cancer, all of these things has to do with what we're stuffing in our mouths. Unfortunately, now I may not be loved for this, but unfortunately, the medical industry has no interest in telling us, stop eating the junk you're eating, because the medical industry lives by selling us medicine. They survive by selling us medicine. So they want us to be sick. They want us to be half dead so that we can support them and they can be rich. I rather live a rich life by eating well and not be dependent upon medications and still feel crappy in the end. Because I stopped taking my medicine back in May. Now, Losartan has a half-life of 48 hours. In 48 hours, everything should be out of my system, okay? So I stopped taking my medicine in May. And, okay, it's been a little while. And I've had some great results. I was in the 117 range for my systolic and in the 74 range or so for my diastolic, which was fantastic. And then I broke someplace in November and came on and off through December. And finally, I've decided, let's cut it out. Thanks, Kipp, for that. Carnivore Kipp has this wonderful 180-day challenge going on. And I want to let everyone know about it because I think when we're united, we're stronger. And when we're united, we support one another. And I'm here to support you, and I'm hoping you're here to support me. But look, I want to share with you a little bit more about Losartan. So let's get on it right now. So Losartan potassium typically comes in a dose of 50 milligrams. When that 50 milligrams is not working efficiently enough, and the doctors are trying to get your blood pressure down to around 135/80 or 85, depending on where you are in the world. When your blood pressure doesn't come down sufficiently, they increase the dose to 100. I happen to be on that 100 milligram dose. And of course, I want to get off. They wouldn't let me. Matter of fact, when I was on the 50 and I went back after eating well, or in my way of eating well, they increased my dose, which was really demotivating. So here I am, 100 milligrams. I stopped it on my own and I don't regret it. Okay, as I stated before, the mechanism or the way Losartan works is that it blocks the angiotensin II receptors. And that is found in the arterial wall. And pretty much, Losartan attaches itself there before the angiotensin II receptors can be received. And this stops my blood vessels from constricting. So it relatively reduces it. It takes a little while to build up, but as it does, it works good for me. It also lowers the blood pressure because of it. And it's a direct pharmaceutical process. So, in other words, I'm being healed because I'm taking the drug. And I think that speaks for itself. If we talk about the benefits of Losartan, and there are some, of course, that target specific pathways, that angiotensin II pathway, and it's proven. It's a proven effective method in clinical studies. And people use it, of course, to manage hypertension. There are some side effects to it, but what do you say? There's side effects to a lot of things. But that's why they use it, and it is proven. Carnivore is not yet proven in the larger scale of things. So that's a big challenge for us as well. If we look at the duration, and I'm just jumping ahead a little bit to speak a little bit about the duration. The key here, if you ask me, when it comes to how long something works, I look for a solution that's going to work forever. I could change my eating style and it worked forever. If I'm taking Losartan, it only works as long as I'm taking it. In other words, I'm popping pills the rest of my life. Now, I'll soon be 62, and I don't mind living another 30 years. My grandmother right now is 103. Praise the Lord for her. And she's looking good and living well. But she's on medication. Excuse me, my camera's acting up. I don't want to be on medication. So it works as long as I take the medication 100 milligrams. And when I start having issues from that, they'll give me something else for the other issues. Ask my grandma. She knows. So my goal in life is not to have to be on this the rest of my life. So why not change it if I can? And that's the opportunity that Carnivore gives me. The additional side effects, if you will, of Losartan is that it offers kidney protection and reduces the risk of heart-related issues. Well, of course, you're already taking the drug, so it's going to help all the blood vessels in your body. What are you going to say about that? For me, let's go with the natural way. Let's go with the way that's going to heal me once and for all, once and for good, I should say, in the end. Because I don't want to do this. I don't want, and I don't know about you, but that's me. I don't want to take medicine all of my life. I want to feel and look and act and be healthy. All right, so let's talk about how the carnivore diet helps me reduce my blood pressure. First, it works in this way. The mechanism of the carnivore diet indirectly affects blood pressure. So it's not like there's some receptor that we're blocking or that's restricting something from attaching to constrict my blood. No, it's not like that. It has side effects, other things that it's doing in my body that assist my blood pressure to go down. One is weight loss. Now, I'm not a weight loss fan. I'm not looking to lose weight, but if that's going to help my blood pressure go down, so be it. The things we do for love. Anyway, it eliminates, by eliminating processed foods and carbs, that often leads to weight loss, which can reduce the strain on the cardiovascular system. So I welcome the weight loss. I love it. Next, it reduces inflammation. Now, this is a good one because I didn't even know that my body was inflamed until I started Carnivore. All the joint pain, there were things like I couldn't smell. I couldn't smell anything. But after a month or so on Carnivore, I was able to smell and it was wonderful. Most of the times, not all the times, because there were some things I didn't want to smell. But I was smelling like things I never knew existed. I didn't even know I lost my smelling. So it reduces inflammation. So processed foods and sugars are known to promote inflammation, which can impair blood vessel function, and I can attest to that. A rich diet or a diet rich in animal proteins and fats reduces inflammation. How about that? Next is electrolyte imbalances. Now, I didn't really know that, well, you know that you have potassium and calcium and all of these electrolytes in your body, sodium, all of that helps with the kick of the heart and all of that muscle contraction and things of that sort. Well, when these things are imbalanced, that's when we start having these problems. Now, these aren't the only problems, but these are problems nonetheless. So when you change to a carnivore way of eating and you cut out processed foods, you cut out different things that you shouldn't be eating, carbs, for example, sodium and potassium becomes more balanced. And when that happens, my heart kick, my blood pressure starts kicking in the right way. Lastly, this changes my insulin levels, or it reduces my insulin levels. So High insulin levels contributes to fluid retention and blood vessel constriction. In my case, high blood pressure. Blood pressure's the vessels are constricted. So a low carb diet, like what we're doing, carnivore, reduces insulin levels, helping blood vessels to relax. So we got to get our insulin levels in check. Carnivore, baby. Now, what do we have for the keys? I say the keys to a really good carnivore diet. The keys between the two. What are the differences between eating carnivore or eating medicine? Well, one, there's a directness. Losartan directly predicts how fast your blood pressure is going to go down. In other words, they've done studies on it. They know if we give you 50 milligrams, this is going to happen, or this should happen. We give you 100 milligrams, this is going to happen. So there's a directness. They know exactly what they're doing. When you're eating carnivore, you're going to do it, but it's going to be more about your lifestyle, more about the way you're eating, more about you sticking with it. It's really patient related. It's how you interact with the food, with the eating, with the lifestyle. And that's all on us. And shouldn't it be on us? I mean, I'm just going to ask you, who's responsible for what you put in your body? We are. So it should be on us. The other thing or key difference you should have between Losartan and carnivore is speed. With medicine, they know about how long it's going to take. They're going to give you the pills, blah, 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 and it's going to do its thing. And while you're eating a dietary change, it might take a couple of weeks or even a couple of months before your blood pressure changes. But how about that? Wouldn't you rather pay that than take pills the rest of your life? I mean, wouldn't you rather pay that? I would. So, and lastly, it's all about control. They know exactly how the medicine is going to work to control your blood pressure. For us, eating a carnivore way of life, it's going to vary person to person. So my results may not be exactly your results, and yours may be better than mine. But the fact is, for me, medicine is a no-go. Food, carnivore especially, and only is the way. With that, how about we talk about my numbers and what I ate today, right now. Right, as we begin, let's talk about what I ate for today. I'm quite satisfied. Sometimes I eat a lot, sometimes I don't, and sometimes I'm not hungry at all. That's the benefit of the carnivore diet. Today, I had a steak, I had deer, which I have a delivery guy bring deer to my house every month, every other month. Depends on how much I want to buy, 2 kilos, 5 kilos, I don't know. But I had steak and deer, and I cook it in a sous vide, which really, really makes a difference. I don't know if you have one. I did a video on one the other day. I say the other day, it's been a while ago, but maybe I'll do another one. It changes the game when it comes to eating, because sometimes when I cook, it's a little rough. I don't like it rough. I like it tender and juicy, like I'm in a restaurant. So the sous vide works really, really well for that. Thank you, my son, who actually purchased that for the family, but I think he did it for me. Lovely, lovely thought, lovely guy. So I had that. I also had boiled egg, and I like them soft boiled. And I drank some hot, I normally drink a lot of hot water. And I find that in order to get a little extra fat, I add non-salted or unsalted butter. And it tastes like popcorn. It tastes great. So that was my meal for today. I didn't give you my macros for today, but I'll start doing that as well. So I don't really follow macros. We don't do calorie counting and things like that, but it's good to know nonetheless. For you guys, so you guys could see what my ratios are. I'm normally around 70% fat, 30% protein, and 0 to non-existent carbohydrates. So let's look at my wonderful, wonderful blood pressure, because that's what we're all here for. That's why I'm here anyway. My blood pressure, as you know, I am historically high. I was a stage 3 hypertension. I remember just walking and exercise walking and not being able to make it up the hill, literally having to call someone to drive me home. As soon as I get home, my blood pressure is 200 plus systolic and around 110 or something diastolic. Of course, I should have gone to the hospital then. At that time, I decided, let me just pop a couple of pills. And, but that, I wasn't on carnivore then. I was keto though. I was on keto, but it wasn't the same. My effect, and that's something I never thought about, the effect of carnivore versus when I was on keto or during ketogenic dieting, it's like night and day. But I left keto because the carbs cravings were still there. All those little snacks and things that you make on. I'm a guy that I can't have a carb. If I take a carb, it's over. So, I won't stop. I won't stop. So I can't cheat. When I cheat, I'll be gone for weeks, guys. You won't see a video. You won't see or hear from me for a long time. So we're gonna do 180 days, right? I have 3 days in, and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. So my blood pressure, without medication, had gone down to a wonderful number in the 110s, 1-teens, over 70 something, which was a dream for me because when I was in the military, it was 110 over 60, and it was routinely like that, But when I gained weight, which I never considered that to be an issue, but today, as we saw from the Losartan study, that it is an issue. When I gained weight, and of course, over the years of eating whatever I wanted, it turned out this way. So now my blood pressure, after coming back on, has been incrementally going down. It was like 159 over 98. Then it was like 158 or 156 over 95. Today, my blood pressure was 151 over 91. So still high, but I can see it coming down. And listen, every little bit matters. It's going to take some weeks to months before the carnivore lifestyle starts taking effect on my body again. And listen, I've done it before. I know I could do it again. And even better. I have greater goals ahead. Let's continue with the next reading. So, as usual, I take my blood every day, which is fun, but it's not. Yeah. My glucose reading for today was a little bit higher than yesterday, but that's no big deal because, like I say, I look at many parameters, not just one. And so yesterday it was 5.1. Today it is 5.3. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. What can I say? Anytime you break or cheat, have carbs or any type of sugar, this number is going to fluctuate. Even in a fasting state, your sugar could be between 4 and 5. It's normal, between 4 point something and 5 point something. When it gets into the 6, now you have an issue, maybe that you should be considering that there could be a problem. But me right now, I'm normally in the 5s, so no worries for me. So let's look at my ketones. My ketones have been really strange. 0.1 for the last 2 days. Today, I'm still not ketogenic. I'm 0.4. I don't officially hit the ketogenic stage until you're 0.5 to 1.5. I'm typically above 2. So for me to have such a slow start, hey, I can't speak about what's happening inside of my body. I can only give you the results. But 0.4 is where I am for my ketones. Now, my GKI is something that is a formula that I use for therapeutic levels. And I say that I didn't create it. A doctor created it. And I did a study on that, or I did a video on that a while back ago as well. But the GKI tells me my therapeutic range. For me, I have tumors inside of my body. So even before I realized the effect of my blood pressure, I had tumors. I have 2 stomach tumors that I just had biopsied the end of last year, and they were benign, which is great. But I have tumors in my chest and a tumor in my thigh. All of these things are getting better on Carnivore. I mean, the tumors on my right chest is gone totally. My thigh has reduced. My left chest is reduced. And I don't have the pain in my stomach when I'm eating Carnivore. If I eat any way else, I have terrible pain that I can't bear. So my GKI is very important for me, that I'm at a level 3 and below. That is where I need to stay. As you've seen over the last few days, it's been super high because they take the glucose and ketone and they calculate, and there you go. But now I'm at 13.2. So I'm on my way. I'm still not therapeutic, but I'm on my way back to where I need to be. And it's one step at a time, one day at a time. We can do this. And now for the least important measure, at least I used to call it my least important measure. Now that I realize that this also has a big effect on my blood pressure, which I told the doctors before, but they told me, no matter what you do, you're always going to take medicine. They told me this, but now I know the truth. The truth is my weight matters. So, my weight before, I think, was 93.8 yesterday. I don't know, somehow overnight, but I did have a very pee night. In other words, I was waking up all the time peeing. And that's because carbohydrates, the 2 words, carb and hydrate, without the carbs, where's the water going to hold? So I reduce my carbs, I pee a lot. And you get dehydrated, right? Dehydrated. So you're going to have to think, make sure you're eating a lot of salt if this happens to you. But also, I take LMNT, every now and then. I don't take it regularly. Tonight, I will have one because I peed a lot yesterday and I don't want cramps. So my weight has gone down to 91.8 and I'm loving it. It's 2 kilos in one day. It's not usual, but it happens sometimes. I'll take it. So, friends and fans from all around the world, I want to thank you for rocking with me this evening, checking out my video, giving me a little motivation, and I hope you learned something along the way. Listen, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. Tell your friends that there's a guy like me doing a thing like this. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.